What's better, guys? Planet Coaster opening theme song or Roller Coaster Tycoon opening theme song? The doo-doo-doo. I feel really bad for saying this, but I really think I like the Planet Coaster opening theme song over the original Roller Coaster Tycoon opening theme song. Although every single time I hear the Roller Coaster Tycoon theme song, I get those nostalgia chills. But I'm sure there's kids playing this game nowadays that are going to hear the Planet Coaster opening theme when they're in their 20s and be like, oh my gosh, that takes me back to when I would spend hours building coasters in Planet Coaster. I feel like Roller Coaster Tycoon is a much better game for younger children just because it's a bit more of a simplistic type management game. Planet Coaster is definitely meant more for an adult audience because it's a lot more complicated and it takes a lot more skill to be able to build nice looking theme parks in this game. I mean, I guess you can always build really crappy looking theme parks in this game as well. That's probably what lots of people do who don't really have much of an eye for design. But anyways, welcome back to Planet Coaster, guys. My name's Attacking Toucans. Started off the episode by deleting the portion of the monorail that goes through our vintage section of our park because it was just a bit too congested and I wanted to clear out some space for other things. And since I expanded the park boundaries, I decided to have the monorail go around the outside of the Aliens vs. Human roller coaster. Speaking of, I need to go back and still finish the scenery for that coaster. We added quite a bit, but since they added the Studios pack, there were some other effects and stuff I wanted to add. I really want to make that ride more of a cinematic experience and have tons of triggers and have like a war going on as you're going through the coaster, but we'll get to that eventually. Today, our main focus is going to be to work on scenery for the log flume. And we're not going to get it all done because, as you guys know, I spend way too much time on my scenery, but we're going to make some pretty good headway. And I'm also really excited to talk about the World Fair expansion pack that came out just a few days ago. They added quite a few new scenery pieces that I'll talk about a bit more in depth as we get further into this video. So the first thing I did for the log flume is I extended the track after the last drop because I realized that there probably needed to be a bit more space for the log to slow down. And then I think I found a way to better blend it into the coast of the lake. I can't wait to decorate that lake. I plan to go AWOL with the waterfalls. I just want that to be Waterfall Lake. It's gonna look super duper cool whenever it's done. I'm not gonna do that today, but we will do that. And also apologies for the commentary delaying the actual gameplay by a little bit because of the intro. But then I carved a skull above the station for this ride because I thought it would really fit in with the pirate theme. And I thought it looked really cool and would serve as a great landmark for the ride. So for the opening stretch of this log flume, I'm having this little canyon that was carved out be this small little town slash village that the pirates have set up for themselves to keep all of their supplies and everything. The pirates are just chilling. It's kind of just to set a mood for the ride to really allow people to kind of take in a nice calm scenery before the ride gets a little bit more intense. Because once you enter the caves, I'm going to have a little bit of a plot start to pick up for the ride. So we're kind of just focusing on the more simplistic, chill section of the ride for today. And something I'm really happy about is the fact that I now have the sand texture on this map. Being able to use sand just means everything to me. I can make proper looking beaches, and sand is just such a good texture. It just looks good. I like the color. I like the tan color. Much better than having a bunch of different shades of green. Also, I'm going to try to get a few episodes of this up within the next week or so, especially since I just finished another major Let's Play on the channel. I want to focus on Planet Coaster a little bit since I'm not scrambling to get other episodes out for the channel. I'm sorry for those of you who subscribe to my channel for just Planet Coaster, but as I've said multiple times during the series, this is more of like a passion project that I work on whenever I have time. I don't really get much of a financial benefit for this series. I do it mainly just because I love doing it. So since it is more of a hobby than something I get paid for, it's one of those things that I can only work on when I have the time, if that makes sense. But like I said, I'm still super passionate about this park. I don't plan to end this park series. I'm just going to keep on going and keep on working on it whenever I have time. I'm working on lots of things in my life right now, and it's really nice whenever I do have time to work on this park, because I'm always just so proud of whatever gets added on to it. But I'm liking this first little canyon section. It's seeming pretty quaint. Sort of reminds me of the Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disneyland. Just floating through a candid area, looking at the scenery and just kind of taking in the atmosphere to start off the ride. Now, going back to the discussion of recording the series, There's actually a lot of times where I do want to record new episodes and stuff, but I procrastinate. And I was thinking to myself, why do I procrastinate? And I think for this series, the main reason why is I want to record, but I'll be afraid of starting to record because I'm afraid of starting to build something and then not having it match up to my expectations of what I want for this park. So sometimes it'll take about a week or so to even just think my ride plans through before I'm like confident of building them, because I'll procrastinate and keep on like procrastinating and putting it off because I want to be able to fully think it through, because I have set the standard for myself when building and I want to be able to meet that with every single episode that I record. And so I'll procrastinate because I'm afraid that I won't be able to meet that certain quality that I have set for myself. And I'll procrastinate until I feel confident in my abilities to get the task done. Usually a lot of it is in my head. Like I'm probably am ready to record the ride, but I'm like, no, maybe I should think through it a little bit more and keep on planning it out and keep on thinking it through. And this also happens when just recording any series in general, especially with commentary. Because even though I've recorded over 1,000 YouTube videos at this point, I still get anxiety before pressing the record button of Let's Plays, because you still have that thought, like, is this recording going to be as good as the other recordings? Am I going to be able to live up to that expectation that I've sort of set for myself? Admittedly, a lot of it is self-inflicted anxiety, and I'm not sure if there's ever a point in anybody's life where they become super confident before they start anything they do. Like, I'm sure even the most professional of dancers still have anxiety before going on stage and doing performances, because they're like, there's people watching. Am I going to be able to put on a show that the people expect from me, or am I going to end up failing and not meeting that expectation? This probably goes for athletes, people doing essays or speeches, people doing job interviews, literally anything. I think lots of people have anxiety. People even do that for school projects and essays. They put it off, not necessarily because they don't want to do it, even though that is a big reason for procrastination. But I think the other reason for procrastination is you feel like you're not ready, or you feel like you're not going to do as good of a job as you want to, and you're afraid of that feeling of failure. So you'll procrastinate the event because you think that you might potentially fail. And that's another reason why this series comes out a little bit less regularly. Because sometimes when I do have the time to add on to this park, I get that fear of, well, am I in the right mindset to try to build something today? Do I have the right creative mindset? Will I be able to build the stuff that I expect of myself? It's an ongoing battle, and in the long run, I usually overcome that feeling and build things, and I'm pretty proud of them. Although I'm not building the most insane things that have ever been seen on Planet Coaster by any means. But I feel like the things that I build are good enough to justify watching the series that I'm putting out. But I want to open up this conversation for more of a discussion. So let me know down in the comments, what are some things that you procrastinate on, and why do you procrastinate? Do you know why? Is it because you have a fear of failure, or may it be just pure laziness? Let me know. So for the station of the log flume, I'm going for a small pirate's base, a little bit of a small fortress. This is where the pirates come, where they store their cannons, all of the treasures that they steal. I'm gonna put some like treasures and stuff inside this. This is where they come and just relax. This is where they sleep whenever they're not out at sea, plundering villages and shooting down other ships. Trying to create a small fortress that you would find a little bit inland on a coast on a tropical island of some sort. I'm not trying to create anything crazy when it comes to the architecture of this building, because I don't think pirates really have the mental capacity to make anything that was very, very beautiful. Maybe. I'm sure there was really smart pirates that were interested in architecture and design, but for a building like this, I would imagine that they would be a bit more simplistic. So I'm keeping this building a little bit more box-like, and then sort of blending it in with the cliffside. So we finally had the 1.8 update come out for Planet Coaster, which involves several pretty good updates. One of the coolest ones is restaurants have been added to the game. Although I'm not a huge fan of the way they were implemented, the way they work is very similar to hotels. You just have an entrance hub, and the guests go through an open door, and when they're inside, they're technically inside the restaurant, and then when they leave with status buffs, like they'll leave with extra hunger, happiness, and satisfaction. I thought it would be way more cool if you got to have tables and stuff, and then there would be waiters, but I understand why they didn't do that. That'd be a lot more work just for an aesthetic bonus. They also added new vending machines, because in the new World Fair update that they just announced as well, they added a ton of new restaurants. I believe 10 new restaurants with 10 new forms of branding, so signs and the types of food that they advertise. And every single restaurant goes along with one of the new countries that is promoted in the new World Fair expansion, which they have 10 new countries featured. Now when I say 10 new countries, that can be taken kind of loosely because some of the countries, they added a lot to the update. For example, China. They added a lot of Chinese architecture and building pieces that go along with the Chinese theme. But then there's some other countries where they hardly added anything, just a few new pieces. And the new building pieces they added for that country are just extra little things that go along with already pre-existing building sets that can help you personalize it a little bit more to what that country would have. I think the extra scenery pieces for the few of the countries is a bit weak, and I'm a little bit underwhelmed by them, but I'm not going to complain because we have that new feature where people can create scenery coming out, and I'm sure we'll be able to like fill in all of the gaps with custom-made scenery, so it's probably not too big of a deal, but just a small complaint. Now, my favorite update they added, which is a huge help, is they made it so much easier to find the items and scenery objects that you want in the game. There's so many new ways and tags to be able to find the stuff you're looking for. There's a lot more sorting options now, and then on top of that, every single item, whenever you're hovering over it, there is a little star in the corner, and you can favorite any items that you really like. So you can have a favorites folder that contains all of the items that you're using the most. Or say you're making something that is around a specific scenery theme for a big build. All of the pieces that you use the most for that build, you can just put in your favorites. So instead of having to go to that specific sub-menu for that item that you need, you could just go to your favorites and have everything there at a pinch. It's going to make building stuff so much faster because half of the building time is literally just going through the menus looking for the scenery items you want. And you can also add your own custom tags to scenery items as well. So say I was making a certain ride and was using specific scenery pieces for that ride. I could make a tag that says the ride's name and put all the scenery pieces in that tag. So whenever I want to add extra scenery pieces to that ride, all I have to do is go to that tag and all of the pieces are there instead of having to go to all of the menus for all the different items that I'm looking for. And then also when you go to the sort by option, there's a lot of new options in there as well, especially in the buildings menu. So this game just became so much more user friendly with the way they're treating the menus, and I am just so happy about that. Like, this was by far one of my favorite play sessions because of that new option. They also added some new vending machines. One of the things that grosses me out is they added hamburger vending machines. Not sure who would ever buy a hamburger from a vending machine, especially in a theme park. Like, if you're going to a theme park, you might as well get some good theme park food. I wouldn't buy a vending machine hamburger. I'm not seeing this a bad addition, but I don't really see much use for that. They added lots of new custom firework options, I think like letters and shapes and stuff, so you have a lot more options with fireworks. I still have never even used fireworks in this game, so I'm not even sure what possibilities you have, but I'm sure there's a lot, especially with this new fireworks update. They added a coaster improvement that allows looping, so it allows coasters to loop through the station more than one time. So for example, if you're building a kiddie coaster that's really short, you can have it go through the track like 3 times. Lots of kids coasters do that. They added some new options for door triggers that allows you to control the open and the close now. You can also change the color of the operations staff for your ride, so the people who stand at the entrance of the queue and then the people who operate the rides, you can change their colors now to better match the theming and scenery for your ride. They added 2 new coaster types, a crap ton of new signs, like I said, for all of the new restaurant options they have. And then the World Fair Pack includes a lot of new building options for creating structures, which is really nice. A lot of new walls, windows, things along those lines, so you can build different types of architecture from different cultures. So yeah, I'm really excited to start diving into all the new scenery pieces and seeing what new options we have with those, and I'll probably start implementing some of the new scenery pieces in future episodes. Now we're placing one more flat ride next to the log flume. I decided that having a pirate-themed swinging ship next to the pirate-themed log flume would be a really good idea, just to keep like a consistency with scenery, and I thought this would be the best location for it. It's a really good looking pirate ship. They did a good job with the details on this. I plopped this right next to the log flume, and it'll allow us to continue the pirate theme a little bit further so it didn't seem too isolated. Something else I want to ask real fast is every once in a while I have to kind of scrounge for some things to talk about in my Planet Coaster series. So if any of you have any questions or anything that you would like for me to talk about during one of these episodes, feel free to let me know in the comments below, and in a future episode I will try to have a discussion topic on something that you would like me to discuss. Or if you have any Planet Coaster advice or questions, feel free to ask me and I'll try to answer some of your guys' questions in future episodes. Also, looking at all of this jungle sort of theming around the pirate ride, this is somewhat similar to what the other section of our park is going to look like, the adventure theme, where we have the Mayan ruins. I also decided that I'm going to implement the Chinese theme over in that section of the park, so we'll have like an old Chinese temple type ride back in that area. On some future rides in the park, I'm planning to have some small, just segregated sections of scenery, because some of the scenery themes in this game are fantastic, but I don't want to make full sections of the park themed after them. I feel like 1 to 2 rides, like a main track ride with a flat ride next to it, is all that's needed for some specific scenery themes, such as the pirate theme. In the next episode, I believe we're going to take a break from this ride and go and start to refurbish the entrance to this park. Especially with the World Fair expansion and all of the new architecture styles, I think I can make a much better entrance to this park, especially now that I'm much better at building in this game than I was when I started the series. So we're going to do a much more grandiose entrance to represent the size and detail of this park. But anyways, we are at the end of another episode. It always flies by so fast, but thank you all so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, hit that thumbs up button, and I will see you guys in the next one.